Okay, so you. Oh.
Hello and welcome to the GW Basketball Insiders podcast live edition. I'm Liam Murku alongside David Korn and special guest Abe Rothstein. So we are coming to you. You guys are coming to us from Florida. I'm coming to you from Pennsylvania. After the GW lost 80-70 to the University of Florida, reigning national champions. So I'm gonna kick it over to you guys. You guys were at the game. Give me your biggest takeaways and your thoughts on what happened this afternoon.
I think my big takeaway. Apologies if there's any sort of audio issues. We tried to find a good spot. We're courtside, but there's some basketball going on. No real good spots to do this, but we want to give you the live reaction here, just as we saw it, as we heard it in the post-game press conferences. GW played the reigning national champs. They had a crazy offseason in the portal. This is one of the most expensive rosters in the country. This is a national title contender once again this year. And honestly, my biggest takeaway is that for most of the game, GW matched them physically. And I think that's incredibly impressive. I think Florida has probably the best front court in college basketball. They didn't necessarily look like that today, but just based on size, sort of reputation, what they should be, I don't think there's a more physically imposing front three than Chinyelu, Haug, and Condon. And GW handled it. And so I think that is really impressive. I mean, obviously, that 11-0 run to start the second half was pretty back-breaking. I wish we could be doing that right now.
I got another one queued up right here. So
I love it. Hey, that's the type of authenticity you can only find on the GW Basketball Insiders.
And I think if coming into this game, if you spoke to anyone and said, GW would only lose by 10, I think most people would be pretty content with that result. But I think the frustrating thing was realizing you're down 3 at halftime, really had the game within reach. And it feels like a theme with the Delaware game is that they would have it within one possession, had missed opportunities, either be turnover. GW didn't shoot very well at the basket. Once again, it seems to be a recurring problem over the last two games. So that, of course, that's something they want to work on. Free throw shooting in that first half, they were 0 for 6 in the first half. Wound up finishing 7 for 19, but a lot of those were at the end where they were able to get some miraculous fouls on threes. But they matched that physicality, as David said, in the first half. But just that shooting, they're missing that shooting. David did ask in the post-game press conference about Garrett Johnson, who seemed a little bit off today. Wasn't listed on any injury report, was fully
clear. It's not conference play, so there's no official injury reports right now. But
on our unofficial injury
we were told fully healthy.
But he looked a little bit off, and he had a lot of opportunities, a lot of missed opportunities, that shots that went in and out. And Coach did say after that if he made 2 or 3 of those, we're looking at his game very different.
But I do want to share a little bit about what Caputo said about Garrett Johnson, because I think this is really interesting, and I don't think this has been said as clearly as he said it today. But he spoke about how Garrett will never truly be like 100%. I'm paraphrasing. I haven't had time to go back and look, so apologies if that's not exactly the phrasing he used. But he basically said something along the lines of, with Garrett, we have to treat him differently than other people. Him getting on the plane, whether he can practice 2 days in a row, stuff like that. It's the stuff they're taking into consideration this year. And he sort of acknowledged that there will be consistent sort of question marks and potential issues with his health throughout the season. And I think this was, the way he said this was the most clearly it's been said all year. And I think that's a little different from maybe some stuff that we were hearing sort of behind the scenes, and I think what was sort of their frontward-facing messaging before the season about how Garrett was looking 100%. So I think this is sort of a reality that GW is going to have to deal with. And after his, I'm not sure exactly how many games it was, but for a while during non-con, he looked like GW's best player. I know I've been speaking about that a lot on this show, but I think right now he definitely is dealing with something. That shot is a little off. His drives are not as aggressive, and there's not as much finesse maybe. So whatever it is, this will definitely be a story to monitor. Garrett Johnson's health, how the team is managing it, and just how he looks day to day.
And it also could be, a bit of a mental thing coming back from that torn ACL, a little worried about how your knee's going to hold up. And also, it's pretty common to, have a knee injury, not necessarily have that same explosiveness as you once had before that. So just a lot of things to monitor. But I think a part that really did hurt GW today was some of the performance from the bench. Trey Dinkins struggled, only finished, I'm looking at the stats right now, 3 points, 1 for 5. Luke Hunger, I think, had his worst game as a member of GW. Only finished with 2 points, had 4 fouls, and he shot 3 threes, went 0 for 3, and really was unable to get anything going. When Castro and Tyrone Marshall today were the 2 GW players who impressed me the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Briefly going back to Garrett Johnson, 5 points today, 2 for 9 from the field. Over the last 4 games, he's 3 for 22 from 3-point range. He's just, the shots are just not falling for him as much anymore. Yeah, and I mean, maybe it has something to do with the injury. I know that he didn't practice the day before the Delaware game. So, I mean, David, we talked about that. After the South Florida game, just it's the reality now is that like he's never going to be 100%. We have to assume that he's going to be having some injury stuff. Going to Luke Hunger, he was not great. There's no way he should be shooting. He took 3 3-pointers today. He should not be taking any 3-pointers in any game.
That's him in the game shooting 20% from 3.
Yeah, he's a 17% 3-point shooter for his career, and it's like relatively low volume, but like. I think he had a season in Northwestern where he took 50 or 60 threes, and he was like, he's just not, and that's okay. He's not a good 3-point shooter. This team has enough good 3-point shooters.
Yeah, I just think some of those threes he was taking were way too early in the shot clock and were sort of really momentum killers on the offensive end, because I think having the Luke Hunger 3 as like a safety valve isn't the worst thing in the world, but I don't think there's any sort of way that I have a difficult time imagining that was sort of the plan A or the plan B on any of those possessions. So I think his first half was really tough, and with Castro in foul trouble and Hunger having to be used like that, we talked about this in our preview, Liam, and I was kind of right. I think they really were targeting Hunger. He couldn't do much on either end, and that really hurt GW.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone called him Saddam Hussein on the GW Hoops message board, that's
all we're going to say. We're just going to say that was written about him.
Yeah. Anyway. His offensive rating was 35 today. That's really, really bad. I think Xavier Lee's was like 135 or something like that.
I do want to go back to Garrett Johnson really quickly, just on the topic of continuing offensive struggles. 2 for 9 today. He didn't look right. The next game GW has is against a non-divisional opponent. If it were me, I don't know if I play him.
Correct.
I would think that maybe this is an opportunity, if there is something, if he is hurting, and I know there's a lot of wear and tear. He's had a lot going on health-wise, so it's out of his control. I know he wants to play more than anyone, and he does all he can to put himself out there, training and everything. But maybe this would be a game where, you decide maybe he sits, rest up, because conference play is coming, and they are going to need him, and they are going to need that depth.
Yeah, I mean, if he's dealing with something, I think that's probably the safe thing to do. The other side of the coin could be maybe they want to play him and try and get him back into a rhythm. So I guess we'll see. I mean, I don't really know. They do actually have a while. They have 9 days until their next game. It's,
next game on the 22nd.
It's a noon game, isn't it?
I believe so.
That's fucking stupid. I hate
on
that.
Monday.
Noon on a Monday? I wish I was still unemployed. Anyway, we talked a little bit about Trey Dinkins. I think he only played 16 minutes. He only had 3 points. What's the deal with him? Like, what's going on? I don't know.
And I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that Abe and I discussed about, and we are worried about him. And one of the big things going into this season, the biggest question mark I think with GW is how they would manage this depth and how they would keep everyone healthy. And or not healthy, I guess, happy, I would say, is the sorry, it's been a long day, up since 4 a.m. How they would keep everyone happy in their roles. And at the start of the year, that wasn't as big of a problem, because winning sort of fixes everything. If you're winning, you're contributing to that, and you can sort of a bench role is more palatable, and or more, I guess, secondary role, because I guess a bench doesn't matter or whatever. But now that GW is facing some adversity, the 2 MTE losses, the Delaware loss, his Florida loss, Trey Dinkins, this is his 6th game in a row without getting double digits in scoring. I heard from some people sitting behind the GW bench that there were maybe some body language issues with Dinkins in the second half, and I was told that he did not appear very engaged in maybe some huddles and timeouts. I didn't see this. I was told this by someone I trust, so this is what I saw. It wasn't on the TV. We couldn't see it from where you're sitting in the media, but that's not a great sign. And I think that if GW continues to struggle in conference play, I think sort of maybe people who are not getting the minutes that they would be hoping for, this could become a storyline with this team about how they're reacting.
And I do think Trey Dinkins, though, is a guy who is either going to be red hot or might be struggling. I feel like it's tough to find the middle with him. And we know what he can be. We've seen what he can do when he is hot offensively. And I do think, that coach could be looking to ride the hot hand, knowing that if he's having a cold night, maybe shooting his way out of it at this point is not the right answer, especially against a team like Florida, where as you saw to open up that second half, GW made a few mistakes and Florida took advantage. GW missed a few shots. Florida took advantage coming out on that 11-0 run. Just on the plus minus for the plus minus truthers, Trey Dinkins was a minus 13 and 16 minutes tonight. Though
I think this plus minus for this game is a little warped because a lot of people's are sort of maybe the sort of end of game, all those fouls, getting some points back when the game wasn't really competitive. Golden in the press conference was not psyched with how Florida sort of took the foot off the gas at the end and let GW get some points there. So I think Luke Hunger, who is in for that stretch, his plus minus looks a lot better than it should have been. John Aranguren, same thing. So I wouldn't take too much stock into this game's plus minus around the board, but I think, for Garrett, it's shocking. Trey Dinkins, it's shocking. And they were definitely minuses throughout the day.
I mean, you need Trey Dinkins to...
Can you repeat what you just said? We got
kids are playing basketball right now.
Oh, interesting. I'm surprised I haven't started ripping it up and turning it back into the hockey. I said you need Trey Dinkins to be scoring for this GW team. He's not the best guard they have defensively, but whatever it is, yes, his body language needs to be better. Yes, he needs to be more engaged. He needs to be scoring points for this team. And it's nice that they have the depth, but I think it might be a dangerous game if you're, the last 3 games, 16 minutes, 20 minutes, 13 minutes. It's he kind of needs to be on the floor and you want to ride the hot hand, but I don't know. It's not good. Whatever the case is, it's not good.
And if GW is going to be good, Trey Dinkins is going to be on this team. If GW really believes they can make a run in the A10 tournament.
I mean, at the beginning of the year, when he was so good off the bench, creating his own offense, when they were letting him sort of do that, that's when this team was looking the best they were all year.
And he's a preseason all-conference player as well.
I think that's kind of
that's.
I think people who really know Atlantic 10 basketball were a little surprised by his inclusion there, but
I don't know. Can we talk about the rebounding a little bit? Because I was actually impressed by GW on the board. I thought they were going to get absolutely hammered on the boards. And they were at a disadvantage, but they looked better than I thought they would.
Yeah, and I think even though Castro's rebounding numbers aren't incredible, I think he had 5. The way he was boxing out and sort of tipping the ball around, keeping it alive, and allowing other guys like Tyrone Marshall, Boo Benjamin, sort of just the rest of the team to sort of pick up some slack on the glass, I think was Trey Autry had 5. I think that was really valuable. And I think come A10 play, there's no team in the conference that can be as physical as GW. GW can kill any team on the glass. I think St. Bonaventure could give them some trouble with Mitchell and Grahovic, but I think outside of them, playing inside out should be GW's path to victory for the majority of the games the rest of the way.
And just looking deeper in the stats, Florida had 8 more rebounds than GW, but GW had 11 more shot attempts. So when you look at that, GW played a good game. They were good on the boards. GW actually won the battle on the offensive boards, 13-12. Second chance points 11-9. So if you look at those stats, there are reasons, to be optimistic, at least on the rebounding side for GW, able to match up against a top caliber team such as Florida. And I do want to say, Coach Golden in his press conference asked kind of, he played top caliber schools, and now he's playing mid-major in GW. Gave a lot of praise to GW. Said that GW is a really good team. It's a good test for Florida, and gave a lot of props to Coach Caputo and kind of how the program's been built. And how they were 60 in Ken Palm at the beginning of the week. And
yeah, I don't think he was psyched about that Delaware loss either.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were. So another horn. So it's just kids playing basketball, and they need to do the horns. Whatever.
I don't know. This is
Anyway,
this is new to us.
Okay, one thing I noticed, this team is taking a few more mid-range shots now than they have been, and that's something that Caputo has been very adamant that he does not want them to do. Do you think
I don't think they were intentional. I think these were. I think most of them came in the first half. I think most of them came pretty early in the first half, and I think a lot of them were just sort of a result of jitters against playing in a not an NBA arena, but a professional arena against the reigning national champions on national TV. And so I think a lot of that was sort of, a player sort of head down, dribbling, find themselves against one of their imposing front court players, Condon Chinulu Haug, and sort of not knowing what to do and just hucking up a fadeaway. And a few times it worked. Christian Jones had a really nice runner. I think Castro had a few hook shots that are maybe a little deeper than we usually see him take that went in. But I wouldn't chalk it up to this becoming part of the regular game plan. I think from where we were and just sort of feeling the energy of the place, it seemed pretty clear that it was not what was supposed to be happening and sort of a result of the increased expectations and hype surrounding this game and then maybe getting in their heads.
And then the Florida defense, of course, is top defense in the country. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes late in the shot clock, those were the shots that were available, and they took them. I do want to, there's on this live stats, it kind of goes specifically into the type of shot. GW was 11 for 22 on layups. That can't happen. And you look at a lot of the reasons why they were down. One possession against Delaware, they have a shot at the rim, couldn't finish it. I feel like Rafael Castro is not as efficient this season at the rim as he was last year. But I do think that's something GW, if they want to take down top competition in the Atlantic 10, points in the paint, layups. Can't
they keep missing these layups when they get fouled. Like I think I tweeted that like their conversion rate must be 20%. Like it might be lower than that. They never it seems like can make a shot after they're fouled.
Or free throws today.
Yeah. Oh my God, the free throws were a fucking disaster. Also, one more thing, and then I want to ask you guys about the atmosphere. I have this written down in my notes, and I want to read this word for word. If they jump to block another three and get blown by again, I am going to walk into traffic.
How had that big one?
They keep doing it. It's like, stop jumping. You're not going to block the shot. So, anyway, okay. We're going to end this with, what did you guys think about the atmosphere? What did you guys think about the venue? What was the GW fan turnout like? Just give me your assessment on, the off the floor aspect of it.
First of all, this venue inside, so I think it holds about 20,000. It was a bit similar to Capital One Arena. If you're inside, it feels absolutely massive, this place, because it's very wide, spread out. A nice crowd, a good Florida crowd, but there's also a fair amount of GW fans that made the trip. There are a lot of alumni nearby, so good GW support. It's a really cool opportunity. Caputo said in his press conference that he wants to be able to come back next year, whether it's to play Florida State or another team. He'd like to be able to come back and play here. There's a lot of GW, you mentioned a lot of GW connection in Florida. Of course, the Caputo connection down here. He gave us a place for a dinner recommendation.
It's a little out of our budget. Maybe it's a Taco Bell Cantina kind of night. We don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
we'll see.
What if he paid? What if
he's got a big? We'll be seeing.
So my biggest takeaway about this atmosphere is I think GW is craving a game like this.
Yeah.
I think the fans were looking for something to be excited about. Former players in attendance on Mike Jarvis, former coach Jarvis, Damian Hollis, Joe McDonald, Isaiah Armwood, Brian Bynes were all here. A lot of people who are sort of active on the message board and on GW Twitter here. I know we got a chance to catch up with John Dooling. He brought his friend in, Marlins radio broadcaster Steven Storm, which was cool. So now he's a GW fan. So now he's in that. We talked some baseball with him for a bit. That was cool. WRGW Sports and Georgia's Army legend Macy McClintock was here. That was cool. Got to catch up with her. She's living in Miami, and so she made the trip up to Sunrise for the game. So there's a lot of excitement locally, I think. I was impressed with how many GW people were here. And I mean, it was a very pro Florida atmosphere. Even in the earlier game, there were very few Florida State fans that made the trip down from Tallahassee. All the Florida fans. Yeah, yikes, right? We got to
105 points to UMass.
Liam, want to hear a great deep cut?
Yes.
Abe and I got to vote for former opponent who lost to GW, the last high major team to lose GW of South Carolina, Daniel Hankin Sanford, who is still at UMass after they were in the A10 or now in the MAC. We got to vote for him for Orange Bowl Classic MVP.
Nice.
And in the second game, Xavier Lee won it, and someone in the postgame presser asked him, "How does it feel?"
This is so funny.
And he said, "I was surprised because I didn't even know that was a thing."
Neither did we.
It's like the Nickelodeon MVP thing.
Yeah, I mean, the pageantry of this, I guess, was maybe a little overdone for whatever it was, but it was a cool atmosphere. This is again, real arena.
We do a little
real
pan
fans
around of the arena.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's see it.
Dude, we're gonna go crazy here. So my laptop's gonna do a spin. Oh, Abe, you got it.
Hopefully I don't throw up. Ooh.
But see, this place is
Nice. Well, you said it was spacious. I mean, I guess it's built for hockey, right? So it's not necessarily built for basketball. I wonder how much basketball they actually play there.
Yeah, we were talking about it. So I don't know. Maybe there was an issue with the rims, whatever. I don't know. But
yeah,
cool spot for a game. I'm glad we made the trip. Hopefully Abe doesn't get snowed in. Yeah, he has to be on the women's call tomorrow, so we don't want Byron to have to go at it alone.
Yep, there's a little snow forecast. It's supposed to stop at 6 or 7 in the morning. My flight doesn't get in until 9:30, so I'm hoping at that point I'll be all right. I have my suit laid out and already ironed, so I'm ready to, if I have to, if I get delayed a little bit, have a buffer, I can put it on and get there. Because it's time. Gabby Reynolds, 6th in the A10 in offensive rating to lead GW to a great victory.
Yeah, it's going to snow. I think it's going to snow a pretty decent amount, like maybe I'm hoping for a good 6 inches in Pennsylvania here, but I think it might be closer to 3 or 4.
Not in DC, please.
Yeah, we're going to get an Eagles game tomorrow on the snow. The Eagles are going to make me really angry. All right, I think we've I don't think there's
Abe and I want to go get drunk in Fort Lauderdale. So
all right, well,
you're ahead of us. I'm gonna write something up for A10 talk. Gonna have that out before we hit the streets, but watch out for that. And not the worst result. Could have been a blowout. GW was competitive for most of the game. Take out that 11-0 run, and we're talking about a much different story here. So, it feels weird to feel okay after a loss when you didn't feel like it was actually that competitive. But Florida's really good.
And it could have been a single-digit loss if we didn't foul down 8 with 3 seconds left.
That was so stupid. I was like, just end the game. Come on.
I understand why maybe some players are frustrated, especially because it feels like this was winnable. I understand why some fans may be feeling frustrated with how the team is looking, but there are a lot worse places GW could be in heading into conference play. And I think if they sort of figure out some of these rotations and get back into the swing of things offensively a bit, I think that the conference play could get this team back on track.
Yeah, agreed. I think it was an encouraging response after the pants shitting that occurred on Wednesday. So,
right. I'm just going to add one more thing because we talked about that. Speaking to people around the program today, they were shocked too.
Yeah, it was baffling. Just not only the fact that they lost, but the way that they lost, how bad they looked on offense. But better today. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, watching, all that fun stuff. We'll be back soon at some point to discuss more GW basketball.
Yep.